Hey everybody, Notorious here. Welcome back to my channel. Grateful as always to have your viewership. In this episode, we'll be taking a look at every single type of carabiner that I own. We will also discuss how I use them, how each one works. I will make personal recommendations as to which ones I would suggest that you buy and which ones I would suggest that you avoid. And we will also discuss proper inspection protocols and how to clean them when necessary. All right, with that out of the way, let's get right to it. For those who are new to the climbing world, a carabiner is essentially a rated piece of hardware typically made out of either aluminum or sometimes magnesium and sometimes also steel and sometimes other alloys, but those are the big ones that have some type of gate on them. And the gate allows for the climber to connect different pieces of hardware and or software to either other pieces of hardware or software or to bolts or other types of anchor points. You can see very clearly that each one has some type of gate in a variety of different colors and styles, and I'll go into depth into each one so that you understand how it works and what kind it is. So we're going to start at the top left here and work our way from left to right until we reach the very end. We're starting with the most basic types of carabiners and moving to the more obscure and sophisticated and or unique. So here we have a Wiregate carabiner. That is the proper name for this type of carabiner. And you can see that it is small in stature, and you can see also that it has a gate made out of wire, hence the name. Now, these, if you're a tree climber, are typically not used for any tree climbing applications. These are more of a rock climbing and alpining tool, and they are very lightweight, very, again, small stature, and you can see this rating here, it's only 12 kilonewtons. So in the tree climbing world, it's important to understand that you want to pick carabiners that have a rating of 23 kilonewtons or more, typically. And hardware in general should be rated for at least 23 kilonewtons or more. At least that's the rule that I've always lived by. And so, by virtue of that fact, a Wiregate carabiner like this is typically only used for accessory purposes or accessory. I learned recently that the proper pronunciation of what I used to refer to as accessory or pronounce as accessory is actually accessory. If you look at the phonetics, it is accessory. So I think that's really interesting, and these are used for accessory purposes. In other words, they're not used for climbing, they're used to connect softwares and other hardwares to a climber's harness, for example, or for non-life supporting applications. All right, moving on. Here we have a straight gate carabiner, and these are essentially larger versions of the Wiregate, although Wiregates can sometimes come in this size as well. But they have a solid gate versus a gate made out of wire, and that adds strength and security to it. This particular carabiner is rated for 23 kilonewtons in this axis. Now, it's important to understand that carabiners typically will have several ratings, usually 3 foremost. The major axis, so they rate it based on its strength in when it's pulled like this. They also will rate it for when it's pulled like this with the gate closed, and they will also rate it for how it withstands forces like this with the gate open. So those, for pretty much every carabiner, you can expect that they will have those 3 ratings. And so for this carabiner in the major axis, it's 23 kilonewtons. In the minor axis, it is 7 kilonewtons. And with the gate open and pulled in the major axis, it is also 7 kilonewtons. Now, keep in mind that a carabiner is only meant to be loaded in the major axis. So for every one of these carabiners, they're all only designed to be loaded, for example, if I take this one, in the major axis. Alright? You never, or at least you want to avoid loading a carabiner in the minor axis. And you certainly want to avoid loading it with the gate open. And typically, that's a problem that only comes about with certain types of carabiners. I'll get into the double action and triple action gates, which help reduce the chance of the gate remaining open in a climbing scenario. So the next type of carabiner is the screw gate, and this is a typical size screw gate carabiner that you might see used by climbers, like rock climbers and alpinists, and where the Wiregate has no means of locking. It's just, you depend on it to just close properly and stay closed. And same with the straight gate. It has no means of locking the gate. The screw gate incorporates, as the name suggests, a screw which helps eliminate the possibility that the gate will open during a climbing situation. So if we look, we can open this gate, but we can also screw this down, and this will prevent the screw gate carabiner from opening. Now, of course, in order for this to work effectively, the climber needs to remember to screw it closed. And also, when buying screw gate carabiners, it is important to buy ones that are of at least, decent quality. Because if you buy the cheap ones, basically there is a chance that the screw on the gate can be very loose, And whereas you can see here, you can't feel it, but I'm feeling it for you. It locks into place, all right? So it's not easily unscrewed. So now if I unscrew it again and I lock it in place, it'll also stay locked when I want it to be remained open. So when buying screw gate carabiners, make sure that when you screw it closed and screw it open, that the gate will remain in place and not be loose and rolling around. This is just a cheap one off Amazon. This one is rated for 25 kilonewtons in the major access, so not too bad, not too bad. Here we have a D-shaped carabiner, and that refers to its D shape. And this one is a double action. So now we're moving into the type of gates that will auto lock. But I've included this one for a reason. And here we have another, this is more of a pear-shaped or HMS style double action gate. And the difference between a screw gate and a double action gate, or sometimes known as double locking, but that's actually a misnomer, and I'll explain why in a minute, is that with the screw gate, you have to remember to screw it closed in order for it to remain locked, okay? But with a double action carabiner, you have to twist it, pull it back in order to open it. So when you simply just release the gate, it will lock automatically. And now we're getting into the types of carabiners that are approved for tree work. In the tree work industry, and just even if you're a recreational climber like myself, it is just basically paramount that you don't use screw gate carabiners, certainly don't use straight gate, and definitely don't use Wiregate. You want to use at least double action gates, or we'll get into triple action gates, which are even better, and they even make quadruple action gates. I don't own any, so I can't show you any, but they do make them. I personally think that's maybe a little unnecessary, but don't get me wrong, safety is safety. I would buy them if they weren't so expensive, but yeah, here we have the double action gate, and the reason it's not called double locking is because it only has one locking mechanism. So if you look, this is one twist, one action is all is required to open it. And then I pulled the gate back, that's the second action. That's where it gets the term double action gate, okay? So the two actions are twisting and pulling back. So twist, pulling back. And the reason it's not, if people, some people call them double locking, that's not accurate because they only have the one twist to lock it. So if you get what I'm saying, it only requires one distinct motion to unlock it, okay? So it's double action. If you want to be accurate and impress your friends, it's double action gate. And again, going back to this D-shaped one, the reason I included this is one I got with a flip line on Amazon, It's 100% made with, Chinesium, which is a joke. It's, basically made a cheap Chinese made carabiner. But I've always kept it because it really accurately demonstrates what you want to look for when inspecting your carabiners. And one thing you want to look for is when you open them, this is also a double action, so I twist, pull back, two distinct motions, is you want to make sure that when you let go of the gate, okay, that it's going to close every single time. You see how that didn't close? That could potentially be very dangerous. So if your carabiners are doing this, whether it be double, triple, or quadruple action, then it's time to either maybe try lubricating it or just use it for, non-crucial rigging purposes, basically where you're going to be putting limbs at stake or stems and trees at stake versus your life, but I would, if your gates are not locking every single time, all right, it's time to retire them for life support applications. In other words, do not trust your life to a carabiner that does something like this with the gate. Just, you can use it for rigging, like I said, non-critical rigging, but I would just retire it. And the way you retire a carabiner, I'll get into that later. You see, this is absolute garbage. But don't think that just because it closes when you pull it all the way back that it's safe. Always put it halfway too and see what happens. So that's no bueno. Immediately retire that and destroy it so that no one else uses it. Or, like I said, you could use it for rigging if you want. Now, moving on, we have a double action carabiner. This one's actually worth mentioning. This one is made by Petzl, and this is a D-shaped carabiner, and it's got, now you can see if you put the gate right up to it, how it closes every time. That's because it's a high quality carabiner. It's not made out of Chinesium. So this one is really cool. It's called the Freno Z, and I like it because it has this Wiregate portion here that you would have it connected like this on your harness, and this would be really good for maybe rappelling, maybe with I don't know, just a rappel device like a Petzl rig or a Petzl ID or any type of gree style. I mean, if you're wreck climbing, you can use a gree. So if you have a gree or a rig or something like that, what this does is it helps you control your descent by putting the strand of your rope into here, and it gives you just a little extra friction, so that's cool. Here we have a HMS carabiner, and this one is double action, and again, if we do the test, you can see that every single time it is closing. And this one is made by DMM. It's a more compact HMS. I like this one a lot. In fact, if I had to make a recommendation for the best two makers or manufacturers of hardware, I would suggest that you go with either Petzl or DMM. DMM, in my opinion, can't be beat. Petzl makes a lot of great stuff, but when it comes to carabiners, nobody beats DMM. And they are, I believe, in Wales, England, but you can buy their hardware on Amazon, like legit hardware, not fake stuff. I wouldn't look for it on like Wish.com or one of those other sketchy marketplaces where they often will give you fake products. But yeah, Amazon does sell legitimate hardware at low prices, and another great place to buy your hardware is Wesspur, spelled WESSPUR.com, and also treestuff.com if you're a tree climber. And this is mostly a tree climbing explanation for carabiners. And here we have another screw gate, except this one is not made out of Chinesium. It is high quality. It is the Petzl OK screw gate. That's OK, 2 letters. And this would be great if you're a rec climber, but not if you're a professional tree climber or a production climber, because this is, again, screw gate will not suffice. But this is an oval carabiner, and again, these names are really intuitive. It looks like an oval, so I'm a huge fan of oval carabiners. So sorry, this is really, I'm going really in depth here. I'll try to go quickly. This is a sort of low budget option here. This is another double action, but we don't need to talk about that. Just it's oval. And here we're moving into the triple action carabiners. And with triple action carabiners, this one is the Triact Petzl OK, and it's got a very distinct look and a very ergonomic grip. And this one will require 3 distinct motions. So we've got the double action, and now we've got our triple action. And so it requires that you push up, then you twist, then you pull back. So it adds a little extra security, and these are very well made. Would highly recommend them to anyone. These are professional carabiners, and I really like these a lot. But again, you have to pull up, twist, pull back. There are some triple action carabiners. Actually, I think there's only one manufacturer that does this, where you have to pull down, twist, and pull back. And I think that's the Rock Exotica Pirate Triact. But I don't really like those. So back to my favorite manufacturer. Here we have a DMM triple action. Okay. Again, you gotta pull up, twist, pull back, and this ensures that every time you close that gate, it's gonna stay closed. And this carabiner is rated for, it's very small lettering, 25 kilonewtons in the major access. So like I said, I buy everything that's above 23. And now we've got the smallest full strength oval triple action carabiner on the market. This is the DMM Ultra O, okay? The larger version, the larger oval triple action that they make. And this is the DMM Perfecto, and you can see that it is substantially smaller, and I really like these. Again, triple action gate, so, and the action on these DMM carabiners are just, man, they're just perfect. Huh, no pun intended. Perfecto. The Perfecto comes in a few forms. Here I've got a double action version, which I bought honestly by mistake. Um, for those who are unaware, for DMM products, red gates mean double action gate, green gates mean triple action gate, and the bulky purple gates mean quadruple action. And the Perfecto, the small oval carabiner, also comes with in this form here where it's got a captive bar, and this bar here keeps it on my Rope Runner Pro, keeps it from spinning around, which is really nice, and it is fully removable. You can just unscrew it either with a screwdriver, or I often just use my fingers. So that's really cool. Just wanted to give a shout out to that one. And now we're moving into oh geez, what's the term eludes me? Clips. Help me out here. I don't know, but basically these are used on flip lines mostly for tree climbers. Flip lines are typically lanyards that have a steel core and they have adjustability, and these are designed to make it easier for a climber to, consistently and frequently open and close their hardware or their carabiner. This is a carabiner, and it's just a really unique type to mostly rope access workers and to tree workers and tree climbers. I don't actually really use these very often because I don't really climb with spurs. I'm not a spur climber because I climb live trees, and climbing with spurs on live trees will puncture the cambium layer and expose the tree to diseases and sickness and insects. So I don't really use these, but basically they're used in this orientation typically, and they're connected to a lanyard, and there's maybe one or two on either side, and this allows for really quick, easy opening. But the thing is, they're double action, and you can see I can't open the gate just by opening it. I have to press this button here with my palm, and that allows for the gate to open. And yeah, they make these in triple action as well. That's something that's become popular, so you can look out for those as well. Basically, you would have to press it with your palm, press it with your finger here, and then also open the gate. That's basically the only difference. So it adds very clever, I think. And these are typically rated for a lot more than your average carabiner. I think this is rated for 35 kilonewtons in the major axis, and these just make it easy for tree climbers who are constantly undoing, opening and closing their, or adjusting their flip lines and lanyards to just easily open them. Now we're moving into the more exotic carabiners. This is the DMM Saros, and this actually has a clip sort of like this at the base, but I removed it because I needed my Saros to be able to get attached to a ring on my bridge, on my harness. So I removed it, and honestly, there's really not much of a need for it. It maintains its orientation just fine without the clip, and this is triple action, so 3 distinct motions. You gotta push up, left, back, and this one's cool because it's got what they call a horn, and this prevents it from orientating in the wrong direction, because this is designed to not fit through the majority of, you know, connection points. And so, and with this bevel down here, this keeps things neatly in place. So I love this. This is my go-to for my rope wrench. I use this for my rope wrench every single time I use my rope wrench. And now we've got what is probably my favorite carabiner of all, simply because it's just so multi-purpose, faceted. I don't know, it's got so many applications. And this is the DMM revolver rig. They make a crappier version, like not crappier, because there's nothing crappy about this device here, this carabiner. They make a crappy version of this for less money called the DMM revolver. Trust me, you don't want to buy it. It's garbage. If you want a DMM pulley beaner, that's what I call these, because they are carabiners with pulleys, then, you know, save up for, or just spend extra money for the revolver rig. You won't be disappointed. And not only does it have a pulley, but it has this, just like the Perfecto, it's got this captive bar. So if you wanted to, you could lock in a rope here to ensure that it will stay in place while you're rigging with it. And this is rated for, I think, 50 kilonewtons. Where's the rating on this? Oh no, I'm wrong. I'm totally wrong. This is 25 kilonewtons in the major axis. So this is an amazing device. It's got a pulley, and you could remove the captive bar. Look, it's as simple as, because I remove mine, typically I just wanted to demonstrate that it existed for you guys and gals. And you can see if you remove it, you can easily use it for all kinds of applications. I mostly use mine for a variety of different redirects and for pulley systems. And this also has the horn, which prevents it from orientating itself incorrectly, so it'll stay how you want it to stay. It's got a triple action gate, and it's got a becket, which is so cool. And for those who are uninitiated, you can clip another piece of hardware below the revolver rig, and this will allow you to easily, you know, if you could put another pulley on this carabiner here and create a really quick and easy 3-to-1 or 5-to-1, whatever, pulley system. And so I've also used this for moving rope system redirects. You can connect a pulley below here, and you can put both strands of your moving rope system, one strand up here, one strand below in the other pulley. I mean, this is the best thing I've ever bought as far as carabiners. It's just so useful. If you watch my videos, my long form videos and my shorts, you'll see that I use this a lot. It's a great purchase. Alright, moving on. Now, this is not technically a carabiner, although I consider it a carabiner because it fits all of the attributes that a carabiner has. This is called a Notch Quickie. Notch is the manufacturer, and Quickie is the name. It's a device. This is basically a mini carabiner. I mean, let's face it. It it is a mini carabiner, and it's designed to be used in situations where you can eliminate any serious cross-loading, because cross-loading is when a carabiner is loaded. Carabiners have a rating for, again, the major access, the minor access, and for the major access with the gate open. But it has no rating for like this, okay? So, like that. No carabiner has a rating for a force applied like that, so you don't want to bend them like that. And the reason is that is how they're weakest, and they can potentially snap, and you could incur catastrophic failure. And this device was made to reduce or eliminate that problem by basically creating the smallest little carabiner possible. And this very simply opens with these slick pins here. You push one pin and then you push the other pin and it'll open. You can open it further by continuing to push the pins. It'll open all the way out. And this is a great device for canopy anchors, basal anchors, and for any situation, like if you needed to use a spar anchor around a really small spar where a normal carabiner might get cross-loaded. This is a great choice. So, Notch Quickie, love it. Yeah, and it just closes like that, really easy. And this is rated for 30 kilonewtons in the major axis and 13 in the minor axis. So that's pretty strong. And now we're moving into even really more obscure. These are my favorite accessory carabiners, or excuse me, accessory. Like I said, that's actually the correct pronunciation for that word. I was shocked and appalled that I've been mispronouncing it for all these years. But this accessory carabiner is made by DMM. No surprise, my favorite company. And this is called the Accessory, which is a play on words. It's basically, 4 letters that sound like accessory, right? So Accessory, and they come in straight gate form, and they also come in screw gate form. And as we know, the screw gate will allow it to open until you screw it closed. And these are awesome. They're not, like those cheapy deepy accessory carabiners that you normally see. These are they actually have a rating. So these little guys are rated for 4 kilonewtons, which is like 4 big football players. I think a kilonewton is like, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to embarrass myself here. It's at least like 300 pounds of force, right? So each one of these can withstand, is it 233, I think? I don't know, I'm not going to embarrass myself here, but basically these can hold like 4 average size humans, each one of these. And they're not meant for life support applications, but they're great for, if you want to build use them on your knee ascender, or for connecting your chest harness or neck tether to your Rope Runner Pro, or your whatever device you use, or a rope wrench, and that way you can raise it up for you. And these are very, very strong for their size, and they're very well made as well. They're a little pricey, but they're worth it. I mean, I'm just astounded that something this tiny can hold 4 kilonewtons. Alright, we're almost done, boys and girls. This is the last one. Now you might be saying, Notorious, this isn't a carabiner. That's a ring. Well, sort of. This is a normal ring, and this is the Petzl Ring Open. And again, these names are so intuitive. I swear they just have no creativity. But this ring opens. Yeah. Wow, go figure. Ring open. So here's a normal ring. It's a solid piece of aluminum. Not going to open unless you're, Harry Houdini and can push rings together or something magical like that. The way this works is it's mostly aluminum, but it also has this really strong polymer type deal. I don't know what it's made out of, but it's probably very strong. And then there's a screw here, and you just take an Allen wrench and you can open this up, and once you remove the screw, you can open the gate. And so this, as far as I'm concerned, this is a ring disguised as a carabiner. It maybe grew up as a ring and always wanted to be a carabiner. I don't know. We'll have to interview it later and have a heart-to-heart with it. But I think this qualifies as a carabiner. And these are awesome because you can, let's say you have a harness and you don't have a connection for your chainsaw lanyard or something. You could slip one of these on to the, what's the word? The straps on your harness and create a rated, these are rated for, what are they rated for? 23 kilonewtons. So, despite, seemingly being compromised by this plastic part here and the screw, they are full strength once you've put the screw in. And I use these sometimes to connect hardware permanently onto my bridge, and I've used them in a variety of other different ways. So that's the last one. I think we've covered everything, except now we need to discuss very briefly, because I know this video has been 42 minutes long now at this point, which is kind of insane. If you've stuck around for all this, God bless you. Alright, last thing I think I said I wanted to talk about is cleaning. We talked about inspection. Basically, every time you use your carabiners, you want to check the gates, and you also want to just check the frames just to make sure there's no fractures or cracks. And if you get sand or dirt or dust or whatever in your gate, I would suggest that you look at whatever the manufacturer suggests, because some of them say to just rinse it with water only. Some suggest to rinse it with like a very light detergent or soap and water, like warm water. And some say to do all that. And there's also I know on the DMM carabiners there's a port for adding oil. I think it's right here. Sorry, it's out of focus. Right here where you can add oil to the gate. But I don't know. I've never needed to do that. I take really good care of my carabiners. At worst, some of them have, a little bit of sand or dust in the gates, and it's just, maybe a little slightly, like crunchy when you turn it, but it still works perfectly fine for me. So I would say consult the manual if you need to clean your carabiners. But I mean, it certainly can't hurt to agitate them a little bit in water. All right, woo! 45 minutes exactly. We've reached the end of this video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope I've either bored you to death or educated you beyond compare, or something in between, some kind of happy medium. Sorry about the length. I mean, there's a lot to talk about here. Let's face it. Might not have seemed that way. You probably thought, oh my god, I'm just going to shut up now. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out my channel. I've got long form videos. I also make shorts. Consider donating. I'm trying to get a dynamometer, which is a force measurement device, so I can do force measurement videos and also brake tests. And finally, subscribe, like this video if you enjoyed it, and be sure to check out my channel for more hitch how-tos, not tutorials and climbing videos. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.